is Devoted to a Soldier Resource Panel, and the theme tonight is military moms. And this is kind of close to my heart because this is my military mom family here. So I'm super, super excited. So if you don't know, well, I'm Danny Rocco, but if you don't know, my son is a Marine and he is a veteran now. So I'm going to have each of my beautiful moms introduce themselves and kind of give a little snapshot of who they're. It just so happens, everybody, that we're all Marines. Hoorah. Nothing against any other branch, but this is these are my ladies. So we'll start with Stacey.
Hi, I'm Stacey, and I've been a Marine mom almost 5 years. My son, I've been very fortunate. My son has been stationed stateside the whole time he's been in there. And he's actually looking at signing back up for another 5 years. So I'll have another 5 more years of this.
5 more in. And Amanda, how about you? Well, it's really cool. Amanda is like picking up her motorcycle today. So we get her like fresh and outside.
I know.
In all my leather.
Yeah,
my daughter is a recent graduate of Paris Island. She graduated January 3rd of this year, the first graduating class of 2020. She's currently at her MOS school where she's becoming a heavy mechanical engineer.
Yeah, I don't know.
For heavy equipment. Heavy equipment, that's it. Heavy equipment. And she's about to graduate that June 3rd, and then she's heading to her first permanent duty station.
And does she know where she's going to go, or do they wait till they
Yuma, Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah, she's really psyched about it. Her sergeant was like, you know how rare it is for somebody to get out of MOS school and go to that base? Yeah. She's like, she's excited.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one. So I want to start from the beginning. I want to talk about boot camp and how we survived. That is how I first met Stacey. I think I joined every online, and I'm so blessed now for this technology. I can't imagine being a mom 20, 30, 40 years ago, or even 15 probably. I met Stacey through a Marine mom group, and we stayed friends ever since. That was probably one of my most valuable assets for me.
Yeah, I have to say likewise, because when we realized that when we got our ship date, I looked on Facebook for every group possible dealing with Paris Island, and I found a really great group, and then they had individual groups for companies or platoons. And I made so many connections with so many other moms and dads throughout the boot camp journey, who I know if I didn't have that support system, I probably would have been a wreck the whole time, because it was she left October 7th last year. And so we had to deal with no Thanksgiving, no Christmas, and it was a little bit crazy of a roller coaster. But yeah, if it wasn't for those support groups, I couldn't imagine. I mean, my mother-in-law, I went through it with her son, my husband's brother. He graduated Paris Island in 88, 87, and he was a Desert Storm vet.
Oh my God.
So I don't know how she did it without a group, and that's just crazy to think about it now.
It is. I know when we brought Robert, he shipped out from Maine, so we had to drive him up to Maine. And I'm in there, and in the little waiting room for the parents is a book, and it had like all the social media links. And I'm taking my camera and I'm clicking every single picture up there, and it was just so. I mean,
that's where Morgan left too.
He's like, "You're not going overboard on this, are you, Mom?" And I'm like, "No." The thing that helped me through Facebook, through the boot camp, were 2 things. The Facebook, like you said, we joined Fox Company. He was in Fox Company, and then we made our own platoon group too. And that group, we just bonded so much, and it was funny because we would compare what our recruits wanted to be sent to them. And instead of doing a care package for our recruit, every week a parent would take a care package request and send 90 of that to them. So every week, some recruit was getting 90 of something because we heard you can't just send it for one. They won't let you take it. But if you send it for the whole platoon, you can. And then once I settled down with that, I found the Marine Parents Facebook page. And that one for New Hampshire had been dead for about 2 years. And so I typed on it, is this still active? And immediately you, Danny, and Lori popped up and was like, yeah, this is active. It's great. Let's get going. Let's meet. Let's do something. And
that doesn't sound like me at all.
So I think what happened was it just took us a little bit, and we still get together. I haven't been able to get together with anybody because of being sick. But, I've still been keeping in touch, texting, and, we have our little messages going back and forth on what's going on. But, you really needed that. The other thing that saved me was at the recruiting station, Robert's recruiter gave me this beautiful boot camp poster that told me every single day what they were doing. So when I was writing him letters, I could look at it and say, well, according to this is what you're doing and how did you do? And it was so funny because I got a letter back from him during swim week. And I said, how did you do? And he's like, good. Now he is a certified scuba diver, and he's also a lifeguard. He did lifeguards at a water camp up here for 4 years. And I was like, you must have, aced that. He's like, are you kidding? I told him I knew nothing about the water. He's like, because if you say that you know a lot, they automatically pick on you. So
he's like, I know nothing. We have Andrew's watching. He's Marine. He was Fox Company. He's laughing, and he's actually from this area, from up here in Exeter, New Hampshire. He's out in Tennessee now, but so he's a little seasoned. My age. Seasoned as in my age. Now I remember, I don't know if you guys, I know Robert has a sibling, but I remember his brother was little, and I think his brother took it the hardest. He would cry every night. Every night for 3 months, that boy cried himself to sleep. Not because he didn't want him to be there. He just missed him, so badly. And, he wasn't old enough for the Facebook groups, but that poster that you said, we printed one off that they had on one of those sites and gave it to him. So if there are siblings out there, that really helps them deal with that.
Let me tell you, Robert's graduation from boot camp was Friday. Anna's prom was Saturday.
I think I remember this.
And it was awful. We had to get special permission for her to miss school that week because we left on Tuesday to go down there to do all the family things. So we had to get special permission because you have to be at school that whole week before the prom, or you can't go to the prom. And she ended up asking him when she found out that he was going to be home for her prom. She ended up asking him to escort her to her prom.
I remember that. I remember you showing pictures.
He never showed any emotions at all or anything about him being away or anything like that. I think she kind of liked being the only child for those, 13, 14 weeks. But it was a shock to us when she said, I got 2 tickets because Robert's going to bring me to my prom. I was like,
she was older. So that was her way, where Brett was little. He was tiny. I think he was maybe 8 or 9, and that was his, Jacob was his idol. They're still super, super close. So, going forward now, both of your guys are out. Mine's home. But how do you deal with what you hear on the news? I remember what that was like when he was active and stuff like that. But especially now, and I know Stacey, those hurricanes for both, like down. When was that? A couple months ago?
Yes, they had. Yeah.
So how do you deal with listening to all the news?
Well, it's so funny because Lori is actually stationed about a half an hour from where Robert's at. So, and Lori's another Marine mom from New Hampshire, but her daughter is down there and she's down there helping her daughter out with her grandchild and everything. So, Lori is my go-to down there. And I also have a sister-in-law that lives also in that area. So she's another go-to that I have for that. And Robert does have his own car. So when they say you need to evacuate or you need to go, we have 3 people that are in that area. One's a cousin out in Tennessee. Then he has his aunt that's further up north in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And then we have another aunt in Virginia.
So you got family and your Marine mom's sister.
And my Marine mom's sister. But she was supposed to evacuate. Usually when they get the evacuation order, she's close enough that she has to evacuate.
Amanda, did you get it in any big storms out at Parris Island while she was there?
No. When she went to Camp Geiger for her military combat training, mm-hmm. she did get a hurricane warning there because you figure this was like February, the month of February that she was out there. Well, like the end of January, throughout to like March, February 29th, I think it was, is when she left Geiger. So they did have, while they were out in the field doing their field work. So she was digging foxholes, as what they used to be called, and they had a hurricane warning. So she was out in the field during that whole thing. That was scary because I couldn't, they have no phone access or anything like that. So that was a little scary, but I have family in North Carolina and in South Carolina as well. So I knew if there was anything horrible that she could just simply, if she could get access to a phone, if they had to evacuate or what have you, then there was family somewhat close by to go to.
You know what I see with the similarities is that I've seen like every service member, whatever branch that they're in, they have their family. That's their new family, and it doesn't really matter. You can always rely on them. That translates exactly into the moms.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we're so connected now that, like I said, we still do at least once a year. I know our Marine moms, get together, whether we can make it or not. Life happens, but we make it an effort to stay together. One of my biggest things, this will be silly, especially when he deployed, was girls. I didn't want him coming home from overseas with a girl, or even actually while he was in, I was terrified because he would tell me stories of his buddies, getting married just to get out of the barracks, and they were in love, and then they have a kid, and then 6 months later they're divorced and hating each other, or so that was like kind of a rule. It was an unknown rule that, like, if you cannot bring her home to me to meet me, don't even waste your time because I will kick your butt. I was terrified of that.
That is exactly how we are too. We're old fashioned like that. Especially my husband. I mean, if my daughter wants to date somebody, he needs to come home, meet the family before it's even okay for them to like officially date, and if it, one day ever goes further, which I don't have to worry about that for a few years. She's only 19. She just turned 19 last week. Is that if it ever goes further and it becomes serious, then he needs to ask daddy's permission to take her hand because it ain't happening otherwise.
Stacey, did you ever think of that, or is that just us?
No, we thought, but Robert's very level-headed, and his father really, the two of them are like best friends when it comes to it. And, we've always said to them ever since they're younger, you need to get your life together, your career together before you can think of a family. You have
That's
to have
exactly what we did with Morgan too.
You
We
know,
said the
and
same
even-
thing with her.
Yeah, even with my daughter now, she's graduating hopefully next year. She should. I don't mean she's having problems, but with everything going on with the pandemic and all everything like that.
Right?
So she's scheduled to graduate next May of 2021. And we've said from the beginning, if you want to have a good, solid family, you have to get your ducks in a row. You have to have a career. You can't just think that everything's going to be all rosy, because it's not going to be all rosy. So he's very level-headed.
Exactly.
I don't have any,
It's funny because so is Jacob. He thinks exactly like that. He was like, Mom, I don't even know where I'm going or where I want to be. So having a girlfriend is like not even in my, but I was terrified of it.
Yeah. And Robert does have
some issue.
Robert does have some friends that did get into that situation where they got together and they got married and they have children and they are now getting divorced. So he has seen it firsthand from that too, that it doesn't really. And I think that just the background we've given him and the experience he's getting, he knows that, I know what my goals are. I have goals set, and that's what I want to achieve before I'm ready to do anything else.
Yeah.
And that's Morgan, exactly.
Yeah.
That is Morgan in a nutshell. She's like, I've got goals and that's where I'm going to be. She's like, I don't plan on getting married till I'm at least 30. And by then I'll be done 8 years. And if I still want to stay in, I mean, she's still talking about maybe making it a career. I mean, it really depends on what she wants.
Right.
But she is literally following her dream, and she's letting no one stand in her way for that.
That's cool.
So,
yeah, that's very cool. So it sounds like they're all the same. And probably my fear of it happened because I had him so young, and it was kind of like a fluke. And I'm always like, never, no matter what, don't rely that they've got the protection because you don't know, and he's like, Mom, that's not even near my thoughts. But I'm like,
Yep.
oh, wow. So Meredith is like, it can work. So here we go. Meredith isn't the only one. Rachel, her name's Rachel in the book. They were high school sweethearts, and actually Chantel too is high school sweethearts. She said it can work. Happily married at 19, going on 13 years. I have my master's degree and 3 amazing children, and my husband's military career is thriving. You're right, Meredith. It can work. But Meredith
absolutely.
And Rachel and Chantel, you guys are rarities, and I think that you have something so strong and instilled in you. And I think you're a blessing. I think, I should just reiterated that, Meredith, through all those years, instead of living in my own fear.
Yeah. It takes the spouse has to be very independent for it to work. They have to be able to say, I can do this on my own if you're going away. And I'm not going to worry that you're going away and I can't be here on my own. And there's not a lot of people out there that can be strong like that can say, yes, I know you're thousands of miles away. And I've got it. I'm here at home and I've got it under control. And that's
you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head because those 3 women I mentioned are all like that. Yep. They've got it. They're good. So you were right. You were right on. And note to all the other moms, don't let your own fears. Don't put them on your son or your daughter, because this is crazy. And I know sometimes it's crazy. So maybe this is again just me, and I'm totally open about my craziness or not. But when he became a Marine, there was something in me about parenting, right? I knew how to parent him as Jacob in high school. And it kind of goes with every phase that they go in, they change, and I have to adjust to parenting to them. But sometimes I would find myself, this is so silly. He's like, just by the fact that he was a Marine, I'd be like, but I'm still his mom and I'm going to still parent him. But I would have like this conversation within my head. I'd feel a little funny, kind of. Is that me?
No.
Okay. That was not me.
No, I think my husband is very, very supportive of everything going on. And he would just look at me and say, you know, we raised him. We wanted him to be strong and independent and on his own. You need to let him do that. And my husband has to remind me of that, you know, quite often, because I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 days and I haven't heard from him. And, you know, and he's like, yes. And, you know, if something bad happened, you're going to hear. So don't worry about it. But it is, you know, when he came home to visit last summer, and that was the first time he was actually home on vacation. Every time he's come home, it's been because of a death. So he's, you know, he got the time off and he came home, and we've had the funeral and we've had this and that type of thing. But last summer was the first time in the 4 years that he's in that he got to come home for vacation. And my husband's like, don't be overbearing. If he's not here at night, that's okay. If he's, you know, he's a grown adult. He's lived on his own for 4 years. And my husband really had to bring me back in and not be like, you know, where were you last night and what were you doing and who were you up with and was there alcohol involved and was it, you know?
Yes, I know. I'm curious if Meredith is still watching, if she thinks that Marine moms are way more maybe overbearing or babying their boys, in her opinion. You know, as a wife, I'm super curious. So Meredith, if you're still on, ask that, because that might be a thing.
I think it's the same for me. I mean, as a mom, I mean, she's the baby. My Marine is the baby of 5 girls. She's my last one. So that's even doubly hard because, you know, your firstborns you were really close to. Your middle children, you're kind of like, okay, let's give them a little bit more freedom. But your baby is like, that's my last one. I can't let go.
Yeah.
So I'm still dealing with the string attachment issue. And it's not easy to cut those strings. But even still, though, even when she was home for her 10-day leave between boot camp and leaving for her next set of training at Geiger, she would still automatically text me, I'm going to go here with my friend's mom, or I'm going to stay out till this time. I'll be home at this time. She would still text me that and let me know what she was doing, which is great. Because even though my kids are like, my oldest one's almost 30 and then my next youngest one is 21, they all still text me. If they're going to go someplace, I'll be like, please text me, let me know you made it. You know, and they do. They'll text me back and let me know they made it.
That's good. So Meredith did answer the question. Oh, Meredith did answer, and she said, no, it's all moms. They're all our babies. So, so just for that, I have 2 more things that I really want to talk about before we have to wrap it up is when they need to talk and just talk. They don't need to listen, like a response. They don't need you to fix it. It's things that they're not able to, you know, handle or things that they're going through. What have you done to hold your tongue? Or maybe there are times that you haven't hold your tongue, or has your Marine ever come to you with anything where you just had to be in here? Because I know that's very big when they come out and they go into transition. That's a huge thing. But I've never really thought about it as they're in there.
Yeah. Robert, when he has those times, he really calls his dad and talks to his dad. And I can tell when those times are there because, you know, my husband will get up and leave the room so that he can just listen and not have to worry about what's going on in the room and who's coming in the room and talking and things like that. And there's other times he'll just call and say, yeah, I'm bored. And he'll just start talking and I'll just listen to him and, you know, give him some, you know, input here and there. But usually if he just needs to talk, he calls his dad.
Yeah, actually, Jacob would call his uncle. He would talk to his uncle. Yeah. And when he was homesick, he would call me and say nothing.
Robert will call me. I'll get those quick phone calls. Okay, Mom, I'm in Walmart and I'm looking for what aisle do I find it in?
Has
Morgan,
because she's so new, has she had any times where she struggled and it could call actually? Because or not yet?
Yes, actually she has. But she usually calls one of her older sisters, who she's like the closest to.
Yeah.
I call her the third youngest of our five, of the older girls. There's three older girls, and this one's the third youngest of
Yes.
those three, the middle. And Morgan and her are really close. They're about 7 years apart in age, but somehow their bond has become really strong. So she's struggling with something really emotionally or really tough. Instead of coming to mama, she goes to her sister. And then once she's heard her sister out and has like kind of figured it out, calmed down a little bit, then she'll call me and talk about it.
Yeah.
And then I can fill in where the sister couldn't, just with experience and wisdom of age.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But we've always been close, where she could always come to me with anything and everything and know that I'm just going to either listen, and if she needs to hear something, whether she likes it or not, she's going to hear it. But that's how we've always been, very honest with each other, even when it's a subject that's really hard. We've always been honest about our feelings and our stance on things. And I just think it really is with the relationship between a mom and their Marine or their son or daughter. And same with the siblings. I mean, the sibling relationship there with, it's my daughter Felicia and her, that are so really concrete and tight that she knows that she can go to either one of us for anything. And she has that support.
Yeah, I remember Jacob. He's more open now that he's older, but he didn't want me to worry.
Yes.
So he wouldn't tell me. That's why he would go to his uncle, and maybe Robert's the same way, going to his father, because he's like, he just didn't want me to have that burden on me. He was like the protector kind of, and he's like, not happening. So I know our Marine moms had a death for one of our Marines. I want to talk about that because that is a very big deal that happens, and it happens a lot. And how do you deal as a mom with that death? So Stacey, Robert was much closer than Jacob was. He knew they went to the same high school, but they didn't really know each other. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's really, really valuable for moms to hear, how to support their son or daughter when a fellow Marine passes.
You need to listen to them and let them know you're available to them, and just also reach out to the family of the Marine that had passed away, because they need your support too, and you want to make sure that they know that. And Robert was very close. They went to high school together, and they were in the same group of friends. And it was very difficult. He got the phone call, and he immediately called, and again, it was a conversation with Dad. And then Dad told me, and I immediately said, "That's not," and he goes, "Yes." And that's when I was like, oh my gosh. And I think I immediately texted you and Lori and said, we don't really know what's going on yet, and we got, little things together to try to help and support. When he got home, it was awful. The fact this all happened when they were getting evacuated for a hurricane too. So besides trying to get him together to come up here, he had to secure his room, because he didn't know if he was going to have a room to come back to when he, after it was supposed to be Category 5 by the time it hit Paris Island and everything like that. So he had a lot going on. I think, and it was surprising me because he didn't wear his uniform to the calling hour or the funeral. And later on, it dawned on me that if he had worn his uniform, he would have to stay with all the Marines, and he couldn't stay with his family and friends. And at this point in time, he needed his family and friends. And so he chose not to wear his uniform.
And did you just know instinctively not to question what he was doing?
Right. Yep. you knew, and I did question. I said, you don't want to be in uniform? And he's like, no, I don't, I can't remember what it was. Either there was something wrong with the uniform. I can't remember what, if it wasn't polished the right way or if it got wrinkled in transit up here or whatnot, but I can't remember what the reason was. And I said, okay. And when we got to the calling hours, that's when I saw that he was with all his friends from Winnicott. Everybody that knew him, they were all together over there, whereas the Marine brothers were all in the receiving room. And that started to dawn on me. Yeah, he probably would have to be more of a Marine at this point in time than of a friend.
Right.
And then in the church too, he would not have been able to sit with us. If he had his uniform on, he would not have been able to sit with us.
Right.
And I think that he really wanted to sit with us. So, and like you said, you just know, and you're there, and you talk about it, and I even now I share the post with him, so he knows. Like, what was it? When did they do the?
It was. I think it was a Memorial Day ceremony, wasn't it? When we went?
It Memorial Veterans Day, or it was?
I want to say it was Memorial Day because I remember. I feel like it was that time of year.
Yeah.
But they did that ceremony that we went to.
Right.
We met
so
there.
And I share all of those. I take the pictures and I send them to him and everything. So, and he is on Facebook, so he sees everybody else's pictures and everything, and so he knows what's going on. But it was that, I would say, out of all the time in the Marines, that was the most difficult time for me as a Marine mom. How do I support him? What can I do? And then what can I do to help my fellow Marine mom?
Yeah.
And just, try to support like that.
Yeah. It's always tough. I'm glad you shared that, because I know it's very common. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but it's the reality, and we need to talk about it so we can share our experiences, so we're prepared.
Right.
For when that does happen.
And I never knew about Gold Star families and the support that the Gold Star families have. And I want to say it's in the fall, they do a walk along the seacoast and everything to raise money for Gold Star families and things like that. So
maybe it was the fall, because we were going to do that, and and I was away.
Yeah.
And you couldn't. Yeah. So
I ended up going just to say hi to everybody. And then I went to the table after everything was done. I went to the registration table, and said, next time you do this, can you put me on, even if it's just stuffing letters to do just anything I can do to help. I said, I can't do any of the walking or physical stuff, but I can sit at a table and check off people's names. I can stuff letters. I can, just to show support for those families. And it was very emotional. I did not realize how emotional that day was going to be for me. And again, I don't have anyone that, we're not a Gold Star family. But just knowing all these families in New Hampshire have had that loss was very overwhelming for me.
Well, because I think, like we said from the very beginning, you get so connected. So even though you might not know them as mothers, we are connected in some way. It's like this unknown secret family. And I kind of understand it, gives me chills, actually. I understand when Jacob, or I hear other Marines, like there's Travis is on here, he's Boston, he's a Marine veteran. They're all brothers. I fully understand it now, and I would never have, unless I had this experience of being a Marine mom. I wouldn't understand that connection of just complete strangers from all different walks of life, but you are connected, and I would do anything for you. If you, we don't even talk that much, but if you called me in the middle of the night and said, Danielle, you're the only person, you're the closest person to me, and I'd be like, okay, when, where, what do I need to do?
There's actually, so there's a lady, and she's a legitimate, the Marine Corps. She sponsors one of the Marine Corps Facebook pages and everything. And she has put her name and address and phone number out to any of us that She's only 20 minutes from the base, that if anything ever came up, you know, she's the contact. She can get into the gate and things like that. She can check on, you know, people, and she knows everybody else. And it's just unbelievable the amount of messages I see her get every day from parents, and, you know, and things like that. Or the parents can contact her and say, hey, my son's having a problem with his car and he wants to take it to this garage. Is this a good garage for him to take it to? And she'll come on and say, no, do not go to that garage, go to this garage. Or, you know, I mean, and she's even made a list of hotels. So when you go down there, you go on to the Facebook page and you go into the files, and there's a list of hotels that are suitable for the family to go down, that, you know, it's not in the shady area at all. And
you don't know.
You have no idea what areas. And, you know, and she's just a wealth of information that I look for. I look for her posts every day to see what's going on and what's happening. And
yeah, that's got to also make you feel a little closer to him, like, you know, what's going on in his area. So all moms out there, or Marines out there, or veterans out there that know active people, connect them with a mom, even if it's not their mom.
Yep.
Because we will take care. See, it's not just me.
No, all of us. You know, there's even there's a Facebook group for travelers, so that if your Marine is traveling and they have car trouble, they contact that group, and within 10 minutes you have somebody out there with that Marine getting them where they need to go and everything. And whenever Robert's traveling back up here, I always make sure I have that group on my, you know, so that if he ran into trouble, I'd be like, I know who I can get to you. You just, you know,
I'm a click away. Just tell me.
I know.
Oh, so there's so many resources out there for you. You just got to look for it. And really, my suggestion to moms is find your group of mom wherever they are, because it does get you through. Even, like I said, Jacob's now a veteran, and even now, I still like my Marine moms, and sometimes I don't always get to comment in the chats, but I read every single one. I know what's going on, and that's all we need.
And like you said, even if you don't get to see them or talk to them for a few months, you know, you can just click on and it's like, yep, okay, we're there.
That is right. Oh, so I know we lost Amanda, which is good because it's getting dark. She needs to get her little butt home on her motorcycle. But Stacey, thank you so much for coming.
Anytime. Thank you for letting us do this. I mean, it really is an honor to be a Marine mom and be part of this group. And not just, like you said, not just Marines, the whole military, just to know, to support. I mean, you know, we're so close to the trade port and
the Pease Air Force, the Naval Base, and everything. Hold on.
You know, and we see the soldiers in uniform all the time out and about, and I make sure I say hi, how are you doing, you know, and things like that, just to let them see a friendly face. And
because we get them when they come back too, and I forget what that's called. Shoot. But anyways, yes. And Amy's on, another Marine mom. And she's like, I miss you ladies, and we need to do them soon. Yes. When we're allowed, we are going to have a
get back out
Marine mom party.
All right. All right. Thank you, Danielle. Have a great night.
Thank you. I will see you soon. And everybody else, I hope you join our table.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, Tony, you can come in.